From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, July 10th. It's going to be another great day out today. It's dry with just enough heat and humidity to see a few clouds pop into the forecast by the afternoon, but it's going to be really comfortable. Lower moisture content, so lower humidity with high temps around 85 degrees. Now tonight, it's going to be clear. The heat's going to cool off and then should make for about the lows in the 60s and another great day for your Tuesday. And we did follow breaking news this morning. A deadly hit and run. IMPD initially said that the victim was in critical condition, but then we did learn that the victim did die. It happened just before 5:30 this morning on the east side near Washington and Southeastern Avenue. That's really all of the information we have right now. Police haven't mentioned what kind of vehicle they might be looking for or a potential suspect. So just stay with Wish TV and wishtv.com for any of the latest developments. And if you know anything about what might have happened, you're asked to call police. 2 men died in a late crash in Indianapolis. It happened just before 10 on 38th Street, just north of Marian University last night. Police say the 2 people were in a car that went off a bridge and ended up in a creek below. Police confirmed the first death at the scene, then updated the story early this morning with the second death. Investigators haven't released the names of the victims or what caused the crash. In Perry County, the Tell City community will lay fallen police sergeant Heather Glenn to rest today. Services began at 10 this morning at Tell City High School. A procession will then take Glenn to a nearby cemetery. Police are asking people to line the route to pay their respects. As we've reported, police say a domestic abuse suspect shot and killed Glenn last week at Perry Memorial Hospital. The police department says Glenn's killing is the first line of duty death in its history. And a memorial fund is set up for Glenn's family through the German American Bank in Tell City. Anyone can make a donation at their closest bank branch. You can also mail a check to the bank in Tell City. State police just ask that you write in the memo that it is for the Sergeant Heather Glenn Endowment. Donations can also be made through the Indiana Fallen Heroes Foundation. And the Tell City funeral is happening on the very same morning as the first miles of an annual bike ride for fallen officers. The Cops Cycling for Survivors ride began this morning in downtown Indianapolis. It kicked off at 8 o'clock with a ceremony this morning. The motto of Cops Cycling for Survivors is Riding to Remember. It has an even deeper meaning today, as I mentioned, as far as Tell City saying goodbye to Sergeant Heather Glenn and after Trooper Aaron Smith's funeral on Friday. And that's what the group of former and current law enforcement officers, their friends and family will do as they bike across the state over the next few weeks, is remember these heroes. The ride pays respect to Indiana's fallen law enforcement heroes and lets their survivors know that they and their loved ones are not forgotten. Each year, the group works to honor officers killed in the line of duty throughout Indiana's history. But this year specifically honors 4 law enforcement officers killed last year. Carroll County Deputy Sheriff Noah Rainey, Hamilton County Deputy Sheriff Douglas Sanford, Elwood Police Officer Noah Shanavez, and Richmond Police Officer Sierra Burton. The ride also raises money to help remember these fallen heroes and support their loved ones. In past years, money raised has been donated to foundations, scholarships, and camps in the memory of fallen officers. Today, the group will ride to Richmond. Every day, they'll go to a new city or town until Saturday, July 22nd. Then they'll be back in Indianapolis for a closing ceremony at Crown Hill Cemetery. If you'd like to help or donate or track their progress, just head to wishtv.com and find this story in the As Seen On section. We've got their full route listed there and links with a lot more information. A Sunday shooting on the northwest side of Indianapolis left one person critically wounded. It happened early yesterday evening on 66th Street, just east of Michigan Road. Police say they found the victim shot at a home. Police haven't named the victim and have not announced any arrests. Police are asking for help solving a Saturday shooting that wounded a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. The scene was a small park in a neighborhood near Raymond and Keystone. Investigators say 2 young victims were sitting at a picnic table near a graduation party when a number of people fired shots at them. Medics took both to Riley Hospital for Children. Police tell us one was critically wounded and that the other was stable. So far, police haven't released any information about possible suspects. Also today, city-county councilors are set to vote on a gun control ordinance. All sides agree it is unenforceable. News 8's Adam Pinsker reports on the reason for it and why a noted voice in the gun control debate expects the issue to end up in court.
More than a decade ago, the Indiana legislature passed a law barring municipalities from enacting their own ordinances regulating the sale and use of guns in their jurisdictions. Despite this, the Indianapolis City County Council is poised to vote on an ordinance cracking down on guns that would only take effect should that state law be repealed.
We're not protesting anything. We're putting in place ordinances that I think speak loudly about what leadership in Indianapolis would like to see the Indiana General Assembly to allow us to do.
Last month, Mayor Joe Hogsett defended the ordinance before it was passed by a committee. It would raise the age to buy a gun in Marion County from 18 to 21, ban certain types of semi-automatic rifles, pistols, and shotguns with revolving cylinders.
I'm not an attorney, but I've been doing this for quite a while. I believe your city commission or city council is about to violate preemption, even though that law does not take effect.
Lee Williams is an investigative editor for the Second Amendment Foundation, which was founded to preserve the right to bear arms. His organization has 50 pending lawsuits against entities trying to regulate guns. He says Indianapolis could be making itself vulnerable to a lawsuit if it passes this ordinance.
I would say that what they're doing is classic misdirection. They want their residents to look over here rather than look at the crime.
But Mayor Hogsett told News 8 last month he remains hopeful future legislatures will recognize Indianapolis and other cities that pass these types of ordinances are trying to protect its citizens.
We hold out hope that the General Assembly, those legislators from outside the state, appreciate the challenge that Indianapolis uniquely has.
The City County Council's attorney says the ordinance should withstand any legal challenges as long as it is not enforced. Adam Pinsker, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
In Steuben County, a man from Oregon is dead after being hit by a semi on the Indiana toll road. It happened yesterday afternoon near I-69 at the Indiana-Michigan border. State police think 45-year-old Michael Shaw pulled over to fix a medical issue on his truck. Police say Shaw walked into the road and into the path of a semi. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Troopers say the semi driver was not injured and is cooperating with the investigation. And Congressman Larry Bouchon says NATO should not offer Ukraine membership at this week's summit in Lithuania. News 8's government reporter Garrick Berquist spoke to Bouchon on this week's edition of All Indiana Politics.
Bouchon says the United States should continue to support Ukraine, but he says Ukraine is not yet ready to become a NATO member.
I don't think we should at this point. I mean, I think, the Ukraine is not ready to be a NATO member prior to the war, right? To be a NATO member, you have to have structural stability in your government. And everybody, I think, around the world knows that in the Ukraine, there has been a level of corruption over the years. They are solving that problem. I think the current president of the country has made headway. But now that they're in the throes of a war and we haven't been able to fully assess their membership, I don't think that right now we should be offering the Ukraine NATO membership. We need to get past the war. We need to make sure that they meet the criteria that every other country that's in NATO meets. The thing we need to do in the interim, we need to continue to support the Ukraine's efforts in getting the Russians out of their country. We cannot allow Vladimir Putin and Russia to think they can structurally change the borders in Europe forcefully. We've seen this before in Europe, and we can't tolerate it. We have to take Putin at his word, and he wants to reestablish the Soviet Union. That means going into other former Eastern Bloc countries. I take him at his word. If they step into a NATO country, then American men and women are on the ground, and we don't want that. So in the interim, we need to do everything we can, along with NATO, to support the Ukrainians' effort against the Russians.
All Indiana Politics airs every Sunday morning at 9:30, exclusively on Wish TV. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
And today, President Biden starts a week-long trip to Europe with a visit to England. Up first, Biden's first meeting with King Charles. The two have talked in the past when Charles was still heir to the throne. The White House says the visit will include tea time with the king, and the two will co-host a climate summit. Biden will also meet with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Tomorrow, Biden attends the NATO summit in Lithuania with a likely vote on whether Ukraine will join the alliance. Late last week, Biden promised to send cluster ammunitions to Ukraine. The decision came with criticism from some other NATO nations, which have banned such weapons. Biden is set to visit Finland after the summit. Now to the Pacers. The team takes on the Magic tonight in a Summer League game in Las Vegas. First-round draft pick Jarris Walker finished with 8 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists in a weekend win over the Wizards. Indiana also has another new addition to the front court, veteran Obi Toppin, through a late-week trade with New York. Tonight's game against the Magic tips off at 8:30. Another close game and another loss for the Fever. It came down to the final seconds again. The Fever trailed the Dallas Wings last night by 10 after the first quarter, but ended up with a tie at the half. Fast forward to the final seconds, the Fever are down 1 and cannot get a shot. Final score 77-76, and the Fever's 7th straight loss. The team plays against the New York Liberty at home on Wednesday. And today, more closures on 465 begin. NDOT says crews are patching the pavement in the southbound lanes at 56th Street on the west side. One of the 3 lanes will shut down. The restricted area will be there, and then the ramp from 56 to 465 South will be closed as well. NDOT says work should finish up by July 25th. NDOT says US 231 in Putnam County will close for several months. It's part of a nearly $4 million project that will replace a bridge over Doe Creek and Box Culvert near Cloverdale. Crews will be working on the Box Culvert more than a mile south of State Road 42. The restrictions are expected to last through early November, weather permitting. And to business headlines, Eli Lilly has become the world's largest healthcare firm. Optimism about its weight loss drug has pushed the stock higher, and now the company's gained $94 billion in its value this year. Lilly has surpassed both Johnson & Johnson and United Health in value this year. The FDA is being asked to investigate YouTube star Logan Paul's energy drink Prime, which has the caffeine of 6 Coke cans. Prime was launched last year and led to lines at stores and resale markets at schools. Company representatives have defended the product as clearly labeled not recommended for children under 18. California-based company Aleph Aeronautics was given a limited certification by the Federal Aviation Administration to test fly its own flying car known as Model A. Company execs say the vehicle already has the capacity to fly. It will still take a long time to see them be used by the masses, though, especially concerning traffic regulations. Aleph Aeronautics says that the public could soon expect the flying car to be purchased by late 2025 with a price tag of $300,000. The cost of a forever stamp for first-class mail rose from 63 to 66 cents on Sunday. The USPS said it needed more money in part due to high inflation. The USPS has raised stamp prices by 32% since early 2019. It's in an effort to boost its revenue as mail volume continues to fall. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.